Thanks for everyone for joining the webinar on the CRM system for our basic websites. When we say basic websites, we're referring to our sites that are not yet automated. So these would be anyone that's currently sitting on a branded website in most cases where you're able to add a bunch of pages. It's relatively about yourself and the real estate and what you have to offer. So with these sites, they do obviously, of course, have a lead capture capability built into them. So you do have the ability to capture leads right from the listing. So if we go into a listings page here and I go to click on a listing, there is a forced registration aspect. However, it does differ from our automated system. You as the agent, in many cases, if you're not running any kind of lead gen through Agent Locator, you have full control of the lead gen and capture options. So currently with these sites, the lead capture is set that the visitor can look at either 3 listings or 20 photos, whatever comes first, before they're going to be required to provide you their information. Now, this little black box here is just a setting within the forced registration that's simply hiding the preview photos that are in behind. You could turn that off if you don't want that on there. You can also change what this says should you wish to do so. But nonetheless, because the forced registration hasn't kicked in, this is the first listing I've looked at, I, as the visitor, can actually go in and view that listing. So with these listings, you are going to have all the information that is available that's been fed from your form, so that's available to your potential buyers on these listings. Now, other ways that leads can register is not only through the forced registration, but by using any contact form on the website. So in this case, a tour of property, that would create a lead for you. Also with the landing pages, so you have the seller's landing pages, so Homeworth, for example, this will create a lead for you, whether you're using this version, the version 2, or the condo version. You will have the street match as well. So that, again, that's also going to create a lead for you. So when they register on here, and as well as if they're the buyer coming in through the daily listing alerts landing page on here as well. So really anywhere that's going to require that your lead fill out contact information, or the website visitor to fill out that contact information, is going to create a lead for you in the back end. So let's just create a lead in here. I'm going to do it through the forced registration aspect of a listing, just so that you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to register on this one here, Crystal, and then plus I'm just going to go to agentlocator.ca. So I'm going to sign in, and then I'm going to my first name, last name, phrase, and I'm going to perfect. So we'll ask your lead's first and last name, phone number, and email. We do try to encourage your lead to provide us a valid phone number by indicating that it's going to be used as a password. Now, of course, not everyone will do that. It's one of the nature of lead capture. It doesn't matter if you're running lead gen and if you're running any kind of lead capture and what kind of site. So if you're, on a car site or insurance site, you're bound to get people that do provide you some valid information, perhaps some invalid information. So once I've registered on here, the site is going to unlock, basically giving me access to all of the listings that are on here. Now, in the CRM system, I'm just going to jump back in here, and I'm hoping I don't have an existing lead with that information. Nope, I don't. So you can see here, as I registered, the new lead was created in the CRM system for you to be able to access that. So you're able to see their contact information, which they formed, their pipeline status, so they come in as not set, because you haven't done anything with this lead, you haven't attempted to contact them or anything like that, or made contact with them. It's also going to let you know when and what time that lead registered, what website they registered on, and of course their location at the time of registration. Now, if they use the buyer's landing page for daily listing alerts, you're going to see some price points in here. Otherwise, if they didn't do any of that, you're going to see that it's just not applicable in that case. You're going to see their last activity. So I was last active because I engaged on the website, I registered. So with those branded websites, the activity does account for email activity if they're looking at an email that was sent through the legacy CRM system. So for you that are not familiar, the legacy CRM is our previous version. It looks kind of like this when you come into the back end. So it's a lot different appearance. So the email campaigns that are associated with the buyer's campaign, for example, that's associated with this, those emails are actually coming from the legacy. And so it will trigger their activity if emails are being sent from that legacy CRM instead. It's also going to let you know your last point of contact and how you've communicated with those leads, and of course any tasks associated and who that lead has been assigned to nonetheless. So to open this lead up, you just simply click on the lead's name. This is going to pull up the lead's detailed view on the lead. Now, you do have the ability to edit their first and last name. You can edit the phone and email as well. You click on this little edit feature to do that. This is helping to prevent you by accidentally perhaps editing one or two or both of these aspects accidentally, which can happen. You can also add additional contact information. So if you have like a spouse or something like that with that individual that you want to have their contact information easy to find, you can definitely add that in there. Now, when that lead registers, in this notes and calls section, the first note that you see is going to let you know why that lead registered. So I always encourage that you take a quick peek here just to see what that reason was. If they filled out a home evaluation form, it's going to show you the information that was also shown to that lead. If they signed up for Street Match, it's going to let you know that. So always knowing why you're going to reach out to someone is probably a good idea. I've had it in the past where someone just got an email that they've got a new lead and they called the lead without even knowing why. So that, didn't actually achieve very good results. Now, you're also going to be able to see your lead's location at the time of registration. This is 99% accurate as to the city that they're located in, not their exact location. So I can let you know that I currently live in West Bank. I do not live up in the mountains where it's actually pinging me. So this is where my IP address is pinging right now, but I am in West Bank. So this is going to help you determine if this is somebody local, if this perhaps is an out-of-town buyer or a relocation move. How you may handle your initial conversations with those individuals may differ. Now, the site is great with respect to the fact that it has cookies. So I haven't really fully looked at any listings yet since I registered. So I'm going to look at a listing just so you guys can see what that looks like when the lead is looking at activities. So the system is collectively watching and monitoring and storing this through the cookies on the website, giving you, access to that information so you can actually refer back to it if you need to. Now I'm just going to refresh here and go back. So we can see here that I was now active and I've looked at 2 properties. So the lead here, for example, has looked at the 2 listings. It's going to let you know when they looked at those listings, how many times they looked at those properties, how many photos they looked at, and if they favorited any of those listings, it would be a highlighted red heart instead of grayed out like this. The system will also capture analytics for you as well, so general price point or average price point, average bedrooms, average bathrooms, the property types that the lead was looking at, and the locations. In some boards, it'll even break it down to the exact community that they're looking in. So this is all useful when you're reaching out to lead, having a general idea as to what they're looking for and where they're looking for those properties, so you can communicate that through to your lead when you're reaching out. Now, some key features in the system. So whenever you do get a lead or you have a client that maybe you're adding in here, and we will go over that in a moment, you're going to want to communicate with that lead. So there is, several different ways that you could do it, whether it be through email or mass email, text or mass text in the platform. So you do have a range of capabilities in here. So always, 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 we recommend hands down calling your leads. Now, or contacts even for that matter. Now it's important and imperative that you log those calls. So the system will recognize calls that are logged so that you know when you last contacted somebody or attempted to contact someone, so you know when you should be doing that again, essentially. So the number one way that I would always recommend is using the Twilio. This is going to dial your lead. So the calling and logging of calls is also connected to your pipeline as well. So Twilio is a great feature to utilize, and any call that you make in here is automatically logged and recorded for your benefit. So I'm just going to initiate a call by hitting this green button. Essentially, I'm calling myself, so we'll see how that works. And then to hang up this call, we're going to hang up and then do our call result. So if we log a call that there is no message left, or perhaps the lead wasn't there, or maybe we opted to leave a voicemail, even though we don't recommend leaving voicemails for leads you have not previously spoken to, the pipeline will switch. So the pipeline is going to switch over from new not set to try to contact, because you logged a call that the lead wasn't there, but you did try to contact them. So the pipeline has recognized that you've now tried to contact that lead. You're also going to recognize over here that the call has been logged and recorded in the notes and call section. So if you ever need to, you can listen back or download that call for future reference. And the final thing to look at is over here in the lead stat section. So the lead stat is monitoring lead activity, essentially. So it's going to let you know when the lead registered, which you can filter by, when they were last contacted, again, you can filter by, and how they've been contacted, whether it was a call, email, SMS. So the calls will account for incoming and outgoing calls, same with the SMS messages. The emails at this point in time are only accounting for your outgoing emails to that individual. So you can filter by all of these. So that's where it's important to log your calls so the system knows when you last tried to call that person. So that's the number one hands down way. Now, if you're opting not to use Twilio, that's entirely up to you. If you do have a large database, I will inform you that it will take you a lot longer to call your database if you're not using Twilio, but we all have our different preferences. So in this notes and call section, you'll see there's two radio buttons here. There is a difference between a call and a note. So if I log, this is a note, you're going to recognize that this little green pad of paper here. You're also going to see that there is no call log. The system does not recognize a call as a note, or a note as a call, rather. So you have to try to remember to log your calls as calls. Again, log your calls as calls, or to the system, that call never happened. It's also going to create more work for you when you're pulling up leads and having to go through your notes on every single lead to see if you actually called them or not. So when you do go to log a call, you can adjust the time. So if you and date, so if you know that you called this lead, let's say last week, you can adjust it and make your call. Maybe you called them at 1 in the afternoon. You can change that if you need to, and you can still log your call results. Now, so we went through the call, no message left, not there, or left voicemail, where the pipeline is going to automatically switch to try to contact. Now, if you call a lead, so you call the lead and you talk to them, or if they called you back and you either logged that call that the lead called in, or they called you directly on your Twilio, it's going to log that call, of course, but it's also going to switch the pipeline to made contact. So anytime you talk to a lead or have a conversation, you're going to want to leave notes on that conversation. Now, my recommendation to you is that you leave that note as if you've created it for somebody else, because we are all guilty of it, myself included, where we leave single one-line notes for ourselves. You know, not looking now, touch base down the road. Well, there is definitely more context to the conversation than just not looking now. You need to try to elaborate on your notes. Your future self will thank your current self. As your lead list grows, your database grows, it's going to be very easy to forget those important conversations, or, you know, the little bit of information that you know is stored in your head is going to disappear. And so that note will be useless for you. So again, log your notes whenever you do talk to a lead or have a conversation. So as I save this, as I talk to the lead, a couple things you're going to recognize. So it's actually put the call way down here because I changed the call date. So you're going to see here that the call is logged as a call. It has this little phone icon similar to how if you're making that Twilio call. You're also going to see here that the system has now recognized that there's been 2 calls to this lead. And your pipeline, because in your call we logged that we talked to the lead, the pipeline has now moved to made contact. And because we've made contact with the lead, the phone number has also been marked as valid. Okay, so the phone validity, if you need to change it, you do have the option of just clicking on the phone icon to change it over. I mean, you can filter your leads based on phone validity, so there's no need to add tags or anything like that. Just strictly use these icons and you can filter, same with the email as well. So the email has been marked as valid because email has been sent and delivered to an inbox. So the email has also been marked as valid. If you notice that it's red and it's not valid, I always tell everyone just do a quick double check on that email to make sure that there's nothing obvious as to why it's invalid. I've seen people miss a letter in their name, or they spell Hotmail or Gmail incorrectly, or they miss the M in .com, simple things like that as to what would cause an email to not deliver. So if it does, if you notice anything obvious, again, just click on this little icon, make the adjustment, and then you just click outside the box and it'll save it, and you can try sending them off an email and see if it delivers. Now, so that's the call. So really you're going to call your leads, all of your leads, and this is also great for your database, your existing database. If every 3 or 6 months you just do a quick check on your past clients, knowing when you last called them is going to help you with that just that much more. You can create a filter for that. Again, we will go over your filters. Now, anytime you talk to a lead, we have this great feature that's tagging. So to access the tags, you just click this little plus sign here. You can create your tags. You just create a tag here. I'm just going to create a situation tag of homeowner. I like to create one for that just so that I can identify that that's a homeowner, and I'm going to go over these with you in a moment. So the tags are a great way to be able to organize your database. Did they sign up for your newsletter? You can quickly and easy pull up all your leads or clients that have signed up for your newsletter and blast them off that newsletter. Are you pulling up leads that are maybe first-time buyers because the government's now offering a new incentive and you want to make sure that they get that information? You can do so quickly and easily. So it's kind of like the grocery store organization, but for your database. So if you can imagine yourself walking into the grocery store, everything has a specific place in the store. So you as the consumer know exactly where to go to get your product. So if I asked you to go get me a bottle of pop, you can, within minutes be in and out of that store. Now imagine the store didn't do that, and I asked you to go get some pop, and you now walked into a 300,000 square foot space, and it's just a mess in there, disaster. Everything's all over the place. You would probably be in there potentially for hours trying to find the pop. So same idea for your leads. So you're able to easily create different audiences for yourself or pull up a specific audience based on tags they have or they don't have. So adding a tag to a lead is quite easy. We added the tag in the system, and then you can just click on the tag or tags that you want to have and go done. They're going to show up on the lead. You're going to be able to hover over those so you can quickly identify important key factors that you may need to see right from the get-go about that individual. So there is a tag list that you can use. It's called the sample tag list. How you gain access to that is just by clicking on this little question mark down here and then type in sample tags. It's going to give you all the Zendesk results that include either or both of those keywords. So in this case, it's the sample tags to use, and then you just click on this little icon to open it up in a new window. So there is different tags to use. The communication tags is generally how that person communicates or tends to be responsive. So a lead or a client could potentially have several of those. You do have different buyer loss scenarios as well that you're going to encounter along your way. Your different future opportunities, situations, lender loss, seller loss, and some miscellaneous tags. Now, they're all color coordinated, and you're going to notice that they all have either a 1 or 2 letters and a semicolon. There is a method to this madness. So what this actually does is in the tagging, you're going to see that all my situations are clustered together and they're the same color. This is going to allow me to easily identify where to find the tags I need to add to my individual. It's also going to help prevent duplicates. So for example, we obviously have another investor tag here, but I've seen like investment buyer, investor, income property, different things like that, where in the cases really it's the exact same tag. It's just worded differently, or wrong number, bad number, invalid number. They're all the same thing, but multiple were created because it wasn't easy to find. So that's the tagging. So it is, highly recommended that anytime you have a conversation with a lead, and sometimes with a past client, you should be able to get enough information from them or know enough information about them to add at least 1 or more tags to them. So that's the tagging feature. Now, going to kind of go down this side of the page just to kind of explain some things to you first and foremost. Then I'm going to go down this side of the page, explain, these little tabs over here. So when that lead you have, we kind of went over all these aspects here. If you want to dial a lead, you just click the phone number. If you want to send an email, you just click on the email address. Easy peasy. You do have a task showing up here. We're going to go over that task and exactly what that is. We've gone through the lead stats. Now, this last activity, so as mentioned, it is tracking your leads activity while they're on the website. However, if you decide to send listings through our CRM system to your lead, this is also going to update every single time your lead looks at a listing. So you're going to be able to filter your leads based on when they were last active, which can go a long way with figuring out who you should be reaching or who in your database is most likely to transact based on that level of activity. Now, you do have your pipeline, so the pipeline does change, as mentioned, if you're logging your calls. It will change with the SMSs as well. We will go over that. However, anything past the made contacts, the set meeting or below, this is manual that you would change. The system doesn't know if you're arranging meetings with somebody or showing them properties, so you will want to manually change that because set meeting indicates that you've met somebody. So there is a difference in how you're going to communicate with someone that you've only spoken to versus somebody that you've met, or somebody you've met which you're showing properties with. So, and being able to differentiate that for yourself in the system is recommended. Now, CRM integrations, if you wanted to set this up, this is for any individual that may be using an additional CRM system that is like it's standalone. So we do have a follow-up boss, we have a bomb, and we have the Infusionsoft. Integrations. There is a cost associated with them. However, what it does is it feeds the information between the CRM systems so that they basically communicate with each other. Now, in most cases, unless you have an automated system with us, you will not see this search section. So this is for anyone that's on our automated lead gen. This is where they set up their searches. However, on the branded sites, if you're not on any kind of automated, you will not see this section. Now, this lead description area is a great spot to insert information about your lead that is important, or your contact that's important. Things that you may want to refer to each time you're talking to them. So their current situation maybe, do they have kids or pets? What's their life look like? Just important stuff that you can utilize. So often when you're having a conversation, you're making those call notes, you're able to take some, if not all of that call note and put, even in port form or however is easiest for yourself in this area, because as you start actioning more on this lead and creating notes and logging calls and doing all that, those important notes get pushed down. So you'll find yourself having to search for them. So this lead description area is a great place so that you have those important notes top of mind and easy to find. Now down here you do have your lead data. So when that lead came in on here, it's a status, it's an open lead. You can change this if you wish to. You also see the source of that lead, so the source of where that lead came from. You can also create additional sources here in the settings tab. You can create additional sources for your leads, so referrals, open houses, center of influence, that sort of thing. It's also going to let you know what site they registered on. And in this case, the lead type is other. So any lead that registers on your branded site just through forced registration because they wanted to look at properties, they're going to be considered an other lead. If that lead registered on a home worth page, they're going to be a lead type as a home seller. If they registered on the buyer's page for daily listing alerts, to sign up for daily listing alerts, they will be a lead type of home buyer. And if they signed up for Street Match, they will be the lead type of Street Match. Now, other things you can put in here, some people spend more time down here than others. So you can put if they have a house to sell. Now, the buying in and selling in timeframes that you see here will show up on the main dashboard, and you can actually filter and search through your leads based on these timelines. So I'm just going to go a buying time frame of 3 to 6 months and selling in 0 to 3 months, and I'm going to show you exactly where you see. You can also see here if if you want to add some of these additional aspects in. Now, you do have the more detailed section. If it's a past client, for example, or a lead perhaps you sold and you now have their new address, you can enter it in here. The address portion of this section is connected to your ability to be able to print labels. So it'll actually pull that information right from here. You will have the information or the ability to add in purchase anniversaries, wedding anniversaries, and birth dates. When you do so, if you click on this little icon, it's going to give you the ability, so let's pick a date, it's going to give you the ability to have the system automatically send something out on your behalf. So you can select if you want the system to send them a text message on that day and write what that text is going to say, or if you have a preset template, you can do it that way. If you prefer, you can send them an email as well. If you have a template, again, you can select the template, or you can custom write your email to them. So the system will automatically take care of that for you. And you can also search your leads based on their birthday. So, which leads have their birthdays coming up in the next week and so on and so forth. Now, you, of course, can add additional buyer information about your leads, seller information about your leads as well. And then, of course, you have down here is the agent. So these are anyone that would have access to this specific lead. So if you are more than one person, you have additional user accounts in your CRM, you can give others access. So the main agent, if you are the primary account holder, you're the one paying the bills at Agent Locator, then you are always going to have access to every lead, whether it's assigned to you or not. Your sub-users, however, don't have that privilege. They only get to see the leads that they've either added themselves or that you've assigned to them. So if you want to assign somebody over to another agent, you just click Main Agent and you switch that over. If you want to keep yourself as the main agent because you want all the communications coming from yourself, but you also want to give somebody else access to the lead, you can add them as a listing agent or as the mortgage agent. So you have, 2 additional spots where you can give somebody access to the lead, which means that they can access it and communicate with that lead as well as yourself. So that's this side of the page. Now, in this notes and calls, we kind of went over this already. You do have this task section. So you can create tasks in here, task details. You can assign tasks to somebody else if you need to. You can, where it's at in the progress kind of factor, the priority level, and the due date and time. So you can put those in there and save. This task was actually part of a campaign, and it's overdue already, so I'm just going to delete that task. As you can see, it disappears. So let's just go task, and I'm going to do it for what's today? So we'll go 2 o'clock. So we're going to save that. So if you have a task, it'll of course show down here. Anything that is yellow is upcoming tasks. anything that shows red, rather, is an overdue task for the most part. Now, tasks will also show up here. There will be a task notifications. You can link to the calendar. You can also go over here in tasks. This will show you all your tasks, whether they're overdue or upcoming, and you can filter your tasks through here. You can also sync this with Google or G Suite. So you would actually go up here into the user profile section, into the user preferences. You'll see a spot for integrations, and you integrate with Google. What that will do is when you create a task in here, that task will also show up in your Google Calendar at that exact day and time, so you don't forget about the task that you create. Now, tasks is something that we feel we have to kind of advise people on. So there are some that tend to get a little bit task happy. They create tasks for everything. So do keep in mind that a lot of things you can actually use filters for in our system to pull up things like, is Crystal active looking at listings? You can use a filter for that. Now, so try to keep it to very important tasks or specific time tasks. Because if you create a slew of tasks, what ends up happening is it's not uncommon for realtors to get busy and have to drop what they're doing and run out the door. But then you end up with a wall of tasks that are overdue, and the important tasks that you for sure didn't want to forget get forgotten and overlooked. So try to keep it to the most important tasks or time-specific tasks in here. Email section here. So this will kind of show you a little bit. So you can compose an email from here. When you're on the legacy system, if an email is sent through the legacy, the status is either going to be sent, opened, or clicked. It will not say delivered. Okay, so this email came from a campaign that was built within this system, this new system, not the older system. Okay, so I know it can be a little bit confusing, but it does let you know when that email was sent, needless to say, or if they opened that email and or clicked on it, which is also important for you as well. Now, the SMS is a great tool to use to communicate with your leads. Again, this one is powered through Twilio, so it's all connected to your Twilio number, which we can definitely help you get set up. So the SMS in here, these will stay here indefinitely. They do not disappear. All the incoming responses from your lead are also going to go to your cell phone. So you can respond to your lead without having to log back into the CRM system. You can create templated text similar to how you would create a templated email. So you can just simply select and send a text. You're not having to type it out every time. You can have some preloaded text in there that's going to cut down your follow-up time significantly in some cases. You can also mass text up to 200 contacts at a time, which can be effective. A lot of people will look at their text. They won't necessarily open an email. So that's the texting feature. Now, the texting feature as well is also connected to the system. So I'm going to send that there. You can see here that this is delivered. So if, let's say, I have never spoken to this lead and the pipeline was either on not set or new lead, for example, it would move the pipeline to try to contact. Because sending that text, you have tried to contact that lead. If the lead responds to your text, the pipeline will move to made contact because now you've made contact with that lead. And again, the rest you manually change. Now, in some cases, you will see that the text has failed. So there's a couple of reasons why the text fails. So one could be obvious that this is an invalid phone number. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or there's not even enough digits in the phone number. So that's obvious why it failed. If it failed and you notice that it's an invalid number, again, just click on the phone icon to mark that as invalid so that when you were doing some call lists, you're not pulling out invalid numbers in call lists because you don't want those invalid numbers. Now, another reason why it may fail is that it's a landline. So the system cannot text a landline, so it'll just fail the text. It doesn't go through. So when in doubt, if the number looks legitimate, you are always going to call it. Now, it may fail. Sometimes I've seen cases where one text delivers and the other text fails. So we are doing some investigating on that. The biggest, the easiest way to explain it is that the text gets stuck in cyberspace. So it gets stuck in delivery. So it just all of a sudden times out and fails. Because you'll see sometimes one delivers and one fails, or you talk to that lead and they're like, no, this is my cell phone. So yeah, we're looking into all of the possibilities on that, but getting stuck in cyberspace seems to be kind of what the formality or the norm would be. Now you do have email campaigns in here. So with our site, you do have legacy campaigns, and you have the ability to create new user campaigns. So the legacy campaigns are campaigns that have been developed using this legacy CRM system. So it'll say legacy in here. These here, you cannot force the campaign. So whereas these ones, I can force the entire campaign. So I'm going to add myself to a campaign so you can see what that looks like. So you do have the ability to set people up on listing matches. So I'm going to add myself to a buying lead campaign. So the buying lead campaign is a series of emails and listings. I highly recommend, if you want to do that, to recreate that buyer campaign using this system. That way you have more control over it. You have stopping clauses. It's just a much better way to create those campaigns, because any campaign that goes out through here does not have automatic stopping clauses, meaning the campaign will stop. Let's say if you made contact with that lead, you would have to manually remember to stop that campaign, which a lot of people forget. So the automated prospect match is just listings. The buying lead campaign is listings and emails. So in order to show you that I cannot force the campaign, I'm going to do the buying lead campaign and assign myself to that one. So you just select it and hit assign. So here, to access the campaign, you're just going to click on it. In this case, if I'm wanting to send out listings, I'm going to click on the V2 option. And the same goes if you add the automated prospect match. You just click on the name of the campaign, and then you're going to click on the V2. This is going to open up a new window for you, and this is where you're going to set the criteria. So in this case, I'm going to pick city. I'm just going to do Toronto for this case. You can go show options and then select, so you know that it's matching the system and exactly how it's spelled and all that fun stuff. I'm going to do list price as well. So there's two parts of the list price in here. You have equal to or greater than or equal to or less than. So this is your lower price limit and this is your upper price limit. So equal to, I'm going to go 800,000 is my equal to, or less than. Is that 800 or did I do 8 million? I think it is 8 million. 800,000, I'm going to add that. We can see that the listings changed, and then I'm going to go list price again and equal to or less than, and I'm going to do this very closed at, let's say, 850,000, just so that the results aren't super big. So right now in Toronto, we've got 177 listings that are priced between 800 and 850,000. I can continue to add additional filters if I want to. So the amount of filters that you do have are dependent on your board. If you don't see a filter that you would like to have for your board, just reach out to support@agentlocator.ca. We are collecting that information, checking to see if we have that available, because every board is different as to what filters they offer. And if we're able to, we will add them in. So once you've added your criteria here, you're just going to go save. You can preview the listings that first and foremost match that criteria. And you're like, oh, shoot, I didn't want condos, or oh, shoot, I don't want a store with an apartment. So you can refine further if you need to. But if you're happy with that, you can go save and email listings. It's going to let you know that they've been sent, and away you go. So that will save this. So this is actually going to go out at the time, I believe it's 5 minutes after I assign somebody to this campaign, this email will actually go out. So that's how you set them up to receive the listings, and we'll go over that email in just a moment so you can see what it looks like. Now going back to here, you're going to see here that the buying lead campaign doesn't have this force option. I cannot force it. Whereas this one here, if I wanted to force the campaign, what this actually does is it sends out the entire campaign all at once, which you probably don't want to do, because if you had 15 emails, all 15 of those emails would be sent to that person all at one time. So instead what you would do is you would click on it, and then you can select the individual one and you can force it. So if I wanted to go, this one here, for example, I can force it to go out if I wanted to. Okay. It's a little bit confusing. If you do need help with your campaigns, as always, our support team is there to assist you and guide you 100%. Now, you do have sold details that you're able to add in sale data. We are collectively grabbing this information. We're going to have it available for you to be able to analyze sold data and pull up your averages and commissions and all that fun stuff. So if you start adding your sales in, basically it's going to ask you for the closing date, who you represented, the MLS number, the sell price, and your commission, essentially. And then it'll collect that. So when that feature is completely built out, you know that it'll be updated, and you'll be able to access all your statistics accurately in here. So that is more or less the full span on the lead, essentially. So again, when that lead registers, you are going to get a notification that a lead did register on your website. So you're never in the blue, not knowing where this lead come from. So you will get those notifications. And then really check what they're up to, see whether they've registered, and then you're going to contact them. Okay, so we've done a lot of updating on this lead. So I'm going to show you exactly how on the home page the lead has been updated. So when we go here, so you can see here that the tags are now showing on my lead. We can see here that the phone number and email are valid. We do have this drop down, so if right away I want to mark this as being invalid, I can. You're also going to see your lead, where they're at in the pipeline. Again, you can switch it right from here if you need to. You're also going to see the lead type right here as well. So we kind of went over that lead type in the details of the lead. So you can see here we got another lead, a home buyer lead, that sort of thing. And you can filter based on lead types as well in here. Now, again, you're going to see where they registered in the time. Because I set it up to receive listings through that email campaigns, you're going to see that the price here is here. And if you recall, I entered that timeline in the buying in and selling in under that lead detail. So this is where it shows. You're actually able to see this right from the main screen. You're also going to be able to see, again, last activity, when last communication occurred. So you can filter your leads and sort your columns all by this. So it's letting you know that there's been a total of 2 calls, with the last call being 31 minutes ago. 3 emails in total have been sent to this individual, and 1 text message has been sent. So in the calls and the emails, or the text messages rather, again, it will account for incoming communications as well, whereas the emails are only accounting for the outgoing communications. Any tasks you have created will show here as well. So anything next to the red check mark will show you any upcoming or overdue tasks. Anything that shows next to this green check mark are your completed tasks. And then, of course, it's going to show you who it's been assigned to. If you're an individual user, it'll always say your name. If you're a team leader, it will show you everyone's name in here. So now the system with respect to other features, for the most part, that are available to you. So the first thing that I want to point out to you is this little question mark right up here, this video and help section. So this offers videos and how-tos based on the section of the CRM that you're on. So these will constantly change. So if you're on another page or you're inside the lead, the videos are reflective as to where you're at within the system. Or if you're in the email section over here under settings, all the videos and help content are related to that specific section. So that's a great place to go there. Now, your system is not only for any lead that comes from your website. You can definitely add leads in here, okay? Now, the filtering option is great. So a couple different ways to filter and sort your leads. So the one way is you can use these little drop downs where you may want to sort them. You can sort your leads based on activities. So if you want to sort your leads, most recent first, who is based on their activities, it will flip the list to show you who is most recently active. So that's a cool feature. Here you do have the same ability. It's just kind of got in a different format. It's just accessible through a drop down. You can, again, filter recent last or first, and then you can show more results per page if you feel the need to. Now, the filters are a great way. So the search criteria here, you can definitely search based on keyword or by portion of the phone number. So for example, if I want to pull up all my leads that have the 4067 in their phone number, it's going to pull me any lead that has that. So portions of their email, portions of their name, portions of their phone number, full or last names, that sort of thing. It'll allow you to find those individuals. Now, you do have these filters here. I do 100% recommend that you play around with these because they can be very beneficial for yourself in creating audiences. So you can stack your filters with as many as you want to create that very specific audience. And then once you create that filter, you would give it a name. So I'm just going to pretend it's like test filter. So let's pretend this is all filled out. Now, if I create as a test filter, you have two options. If you're the main account holder, you have the option of creating it as a company or as a personal. Personally, I will create any filter that I create for anybody as a company filter. And the reason why is if I create this as a company filter, then any sub-users that you currently have or potentially have in the future, they're also going to be able to access that same filter. If you create it as a personal filter, then only you have access to it. So if you have a team of 5 other agents, they wouldn't be able to see that filter that you created. That may also be beneficial to them. So basically, you give it a name, and then you just click one or the other. Now, where you access that save filter is right up here. So you will have the company filters show here, and the personal filters here. So again, when we're logging information, so I created some that you can see so where we're pulling some of the information from. So this one here is showing us every lead that doesn't have any calls logged on them. Again, the importance of logging your calls. This isn't going to tell you need to call these people. So the phone validity in this case, because it is a phone list, so again, remembering to mark those phone numbers as valid or invalid, even if they're blank like this. So if this is a blank number, I'm going to mark that as being invalid because this is a call list. So if I refresh this, you're going to see that 2 of those people dropped out from the list. The number changed here as well. Because when we're calling people, we obviously can only call in valid numbers, not invalid. So we're using the unknown invalid numbers as the phone validity. And then for these people, we're considering these are new leads, people we have not made contact with. So the pipeline is only up to try to contact. We have not made contact or moved further through them. So in this case, we have 26 leads. Now, as you call these people, naturally, the system is also tracking that. So in this filter here, any new lead, we recommend that you call them every other day for at least 8 tries until you make contact for the most part, because as long as you're consistent, the curiosity gets the best of your lead. So here we're going to see, and I'm going to see a contact, actually none of them have a contact call logged on them, but what it would do is it would show you all the people that you've tried to call. Now, because these people have not had a call logged on them, of course they have not been contacted in the last 2 days. So if you have an abundance of leads in your system, then we would be happy to create these filters for you and adjust them so that they're easier for you to navigate through. But essentially, the filters are just going to be there to let you know who you should be contacting. So people that you've made contact with, it's about staying in contact and being convenient. So when did you last contact them? Or when did you not contact them? So in this case, I have it, they haven't been contacted by SMS or phone in the last 10 days. So it's showing me 3 people that have been looking at listings or active within the last 30 days that I haven't contacted by phone or SMS in the last 10, but I've originally made contact with them. So there's 3 leads that are falling in here. So again, the system is pretty intelligent with regard to tracking all that information for you in here. Now, when you do have an audience in front of you, you can do mass actions. So you can select all of the leads. there is a select all option. So if you have like a couple hundred in here, for example, you just go select all. You can also individually select them, if you're just pinpointing individuals. Once you have people selected, you can do the apply mass action section up here. So sending a mass email, mass text, if you need to create a mass task or add a tag to several of them. So you have those abilities to do so in mass format. So kind of going over a couple things, your user preferences. This is where you're going to be able to access things that are important about your contact information, for example. The receiving email is the email that you receive any communications from the system from. So when a new lead registers or they send you a message through email that's through a CRM email, for example, it would come here. Your cellular phone number, office address information, that sort of thing. ISA account, basically, this is for those that may have hired an ISA that they need to give them access to all the leads in order to contact them all, but they don't, none of the communications, unless they're sending something, manually, will ever come from the ISA. It's more or less for them to be able to call your leads. If you're on automated system, this is where this is, important to have that turned on. And you can also edit your passwords. You can also engage a two-factor authentication. A two-factor authentication really only and should only kick in when you're opening up the CRM on a new device. So if somebody tried to access your CRM from their phone, you would actually get the notification and they wouldn't be able to access it unless they punched in the 4-digit code that was sent to your cell phone. So that is that. Again, the phone account, this is all related to your Twilio. Again, you have videos up here, so if you're wanting to set up your own Twilio, you have that ability. There's little videos in here to do that. Lead alerts, this is only for those people that are on the automated system. It's a little bit more intricate with respect to relaying and acquiring information. Your integrations, again, this is where you're going to set up a Google integration. You do have company settings as well. So the CASL settings are relative to the applied consent and express consent. So if you turn that on, you can definitely turn that on. And what it does is it just adds the two little radio buttons in the system. For example, after so many months, will actually prevent you from mass emailing some of those people. You do have out of office settings. Again, this will be connected to the automated system, just allowing you to let the system know that if you're leaving the office and back on. This is only useful if you're on a team, because what it does is you put the dates in, and then basically when you're gone, who would get your leads while you're gone? So if you're not a team, don't even look at that. Don't even need that. Website settings is also relative or related to the automated website as well. So that's that section up here in the user preferences area. Other areas that you may want to know is this little heart down here. This is our update section. This will actually have a blue dot that's flashing at you whenever there's a new update in the system. So I do encourage, if you notice that little blue dot flashing, that you jump in and see what the updates are, because in some cases, many cases, they're going to be beneficial. They're like little enhancements with respect to the CRM system or the filters that are now available or things like that. Now you can also, this is where you're doing your settings, so you can add or remove tags here if you wish to. Add more sources for your lead. That's where we're talking about if it was like an open house or a sign call, that sort of thing. You can also create more SMS templates here. Add in religions if you ever want to, refine your leads based on their religions. You have the different lead types where you can create new lead types as well. Lead sharing is reflective to your automated system. If you're on the branded website, you're doing your lead sharing through the legacy CRM for the time being anyway. The lead import, you can import a database in here. So again, if you click on that and watch a little video, it'll show you exactly how to do that. Facebook integration is also for those people that are on automated currently. Email is where you're going to be able to set up template emails, edit your email signature, create an email header, that sort of thing. And then you can also create email campaigns to the campaign template editor. So this is probably like where you'd want to go the most, is kind of edit and customize the system and create different things so that you can easily select and send them for your leads. You will have, if you have the administration, so if you have user accounts, you can actually access sub-user accounts that are under yourself if you need to. You do have partial leads. So partial leads are going to be connected to your Street Match or your Homeworth pages. So anytime somebody goes on to, let's just go to Street Match here, and let's say they enter their address, but they don't provide you their contact information. That's a partial lead. You've got their address, no information to go along with it. So with the partial leads, if you click on that, it's going to show you if they entered an address, the address that they entered, what website or what page they registered that on, and when. So with these leads, your best bet is to door knock, 5 or 10 houses on either side of this address, and then at least 10 on the other side of the road. Some people will look up the do not call list, do a reverse address lookup and call those individuals. Some people will send stuff in the mail, but again, getting yourself, in front of that potential seller is your best bet. So that's your partial lead. Again, you have your overviews based on mass aspects as well as individual aspects as well. This right here is where you're going to go to edit your branded website. So this little thing right here, it'll link you again over to this section here where you would access your website editor to make any changes or content adjustments and so on. So that's really the important information about your CRM that is noteworthy. If you have any questions or need any assistance after watching this webinar, please contact support@agentlocator.ca. They'll either jump on a call to address what it is, they'll set up a training session kind of going over that specific situation that you're encountering, or they'll just send you the videos for you to kind of learn how to do that specific aspect. So any questions, it's support@agentlocator.ca. Thanks for watching.